So school starts in like a few weeks. And if you're like us, you need a place for your kids to do their schoolwork. And with the uncertainty of the school year, we don't know what that's going to look like. We already know that we have 2 kids that are going to be doing virtual school and 3 kids that are going to be going to school on site. But for how long, we don't know. So we're going to turn this area, our catch-all junk corner, into an awesome multimedia workstation / craft area for us to use. But first, we got to get all this crap out of here. So one of the things we're going to figure out is what to do with all of this stuff. This is from our restaurant. We have receipts out the wazoo, and so we've got to create some sort of file system because this office where we're creating is also doubles as our office for our other business too. So got to figure that out also. We are also going to add in a space for all of our music gear and where we can do our editing for these types of videos. Okay, so the plan is we're going to build an L-shaped desk that's going to go into the corner and then wrap all the way around this direction to the wall over here. So our audio video editing suite's going to go here with our high-powered computer. And then we're going to have 2 sections along this wall where we can plug in laptops for our virtual learners to study and work in their spaces. Underneath, we're going to have modular storage. So we're going to do a couple of cubby type systems on casters. One where we can put our Cricut right on top of it. One where we can put toys, various things, craft supplies, stuff like that, because this is going to be a multi-use space. And then we'll do our file cabinet over here with this one. Now, I have a giant laser printer. You guys might have saw me move it earlier, but I don't want to get rid of it because it works great and it has very low hours on it, but it does take up a lot of room. So having it on top of the desk doesn't make a lot of sense. So we're going to make a low profile cart that it can sit on and slide underneath in the corner also. Out of the way. Okay, so our desk is going to be made out of 3/4 inch birch plywood for the top, and we're going to do kind of a floating style. So what I'm going to do is I have some old mess up drawer boxes sides that I kind of cut too small. So I have a whole bunch of this left over. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut these down and kind of do this kind of right angle on top of it like this, and then do some 45s that go this way. We're gonna mount those to the wall and then set our desktops on top of that. So let's get to cutting. So about halfway through this, I realized that I really didn't need to be that accurate. I was lining up the edges, trying to get everything cut so I could batch cut everything at one time so it'd all be even. When I realized, oh wait, I'm gonna chamfer the edges of these anyway, so once I get all the leg assemblies together and glued up and laminated together, I'm just gonna cut them off square anyway, so it really didn't matter. Okay, so now that I've grabbed every clamp I own, some glue, and which obviously is not enough. So if anybody wants to send me some clamps, feel free. I like the Pony Jorgensen brand. I haven't started buying any yet because I'm poor, broke, 5 kids, 6 kids, 7 kids. Holy cow, I have 7 kids now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna glue up all these in sets of 3. And the way this is gonna work is we're basically going to put them like this, and then we're going to take a cross brace, something like this, probably a little longer than that, and we'll go a little bit longer, something like that, on both sides of these after they get all glued up. Let's glue. So sometimes I do things and I think, why did I do it that way? Because I could do it this way and it'd be a lot easier. So, like this glue up, for example. I took time to get all these glued up and use every clamp I own to glue up basically one leg. When I could just use this thing and glue up all of them, because honestly, the nails aren't ever going to be seen. So I can put those against the wall and be just absolutely fine. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Now that I got the legs all glued up, I can now start trying to figure out how I'm going to cut these braces that are going to go on here. So I'm thinking it's going to go something like this. And then we will cut these somewhere like that. So let's cut one at 30 and see where we're at. All right, so off camera, I cut one of these to see if it's gonna, if my measurements are gonna be just right, and it looks like they are. So I think what I'm gonna do before I start assembling these is I think I'm going to just sand them down a little bit, I think. I'm gonna grab my random orbital sander and get after it. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna take my 45 on my miter saw set up right now, and I'm just gonna cut a little bevel on these, just so on this part that sticks under the desk, it'll just have this nice little piece so that you don't have this corner that you're kind of hitting your knees on. And I'm gonna do the same thing at the bottom of these, so it kind of feeds back to the wall a little bit. I'm gonna match that same bevel on the desktop itself from the top side, and then I'm just gonna do a little 1/8 inch round over on the underside just so there's no sharp edges and stuff. So let's get those knocked out. And just like that, I think that's gonna work perfectly. So let's do the rest of them. And just like that, I think we're ready to start assembling some legs. Knock off these edges. Probably should have put some tape on there to keep some of that tear out from happening. I don't think it's going to be that big a deal because I don't think it's going to be very noticeable once it's all put together. But still, a little bit of blue tape probably would have made all the difference in the world. Or if I would have put maybe a backer block behind it or something like that to help with that chip out, probably would have been a great idea. And then we're just going to glue and nail these on. And because these are 45s, as long as I get them lined up straight, they should square up. Let's give it a shot. Smear it with this high-tech spreader I've got here. Custom made by God. Okay, so I have my handy dandy DeWalt palm router here, and I've got a 45-degree chamfer bit in here. I got the bearing on it, and I set the depth to about 3/8 of an inch, which is about half the size of my 3/4 inch plywood here. So this should put a nice chamfer on the top edge, and then like I said, we're going to do just an 1/8 inch round over on the bottom edge. So I'm not going to chamfer the short side that's going to butt up against the 5 foot or 6 foot piece, so that we have a nice clean edge there. Same thing, I'll go all the way to the edge on this one, and then like I said, we'll just clean up the other part with a chisel. So now with the top edge chamfered, we can move on to the 1/8 inch round over on the bottom. Ta-da! So since I'm not fancy enough to have like a domino a domino tool, domino, I don't know, like a fest tool, domino, whatever they're called. Anyway, to align these two pieces when I get them inside, I'm just gonna use one of these. This is the old PowerTech doweling jig, okay? Just clamps right on. Has nice little holes in there for it. Got my drill, got my dowels, so I'm just gonna make some marks and get going. Well, that's going to wrap up part 1 of our built-in desk, homeschool, virtual school, workstation, craft, make space, whatever. So stay tuned for part 2. We're going to add some modular storage, a file cabinet, a printer stand, and even a tower stand so that everything's on wheels, so it's nice and clean. We can roll it out, we can sweep, we can mop, all that kind of stuff. So stay tuned, part 2. Hit that subscribe button, and make sure you hit that notification so you know when it's coming up. Thanks for watching.